Hi everyone. So if you've been watching this for some time, by this I mean my channel, I've been keeping a little scoreboard on books I've been reading for Book of the Month. And I only started this because I kind of just wanted to see if books recommended by like an official thing where, I guess good enough to be vetted. So I wanted to update that scoreboard before you watch the vlog you're about to watch, but it's currently 6-1. I've read The Intern, Miracle Creek, Razorblade Tears, Paper Names. Those are 4 official, meaning I got them from the site itself. And then the other 2 are books that I just knew on the list, but I kind of just got them on my own on like Amazon or whatever. And that is 700 of Hugo and Red Royal Blue. There might be one more that I'm forgetting right now, but I'll just update that later. So all those 6 are amazing. And now the scoreboard is 6-1 because the one that I did not like, which is the vlog you're about to watch, is The Half Moon. And you're going to see how I felt about that in a minute. But I just wanted to update the scoreboard. I kind of just keep that running because so far so good. All the books that I read from Book of the Month, I realized the one I've read the most are thrillers and legal thrillers, mystery, and I guess just thrillers as a whole, and they've been all good because that's kind of my genre in particular. And 700 of Hugo, I'm not really sure what that falls on. Red Royal Blue as a romance was really satisfying, and yeah, I'm done boring you now, so just enjoy the vlog, okay? Hello. I'm gonna start with the funniest thing. I took a nap after work and it is now almost 11 p.m. I also have tea. I'm gonna try and decide what I want to drink tonight, but that's not what you're here for. So, this is another reading vlog. Hello, hi, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed the last one. I'm reading a new book. So fun story, I was reading a romance book and I just wasn't feeling it. Like the whole premise was sounding great. And I would read it some days at work and I'm like, I just don't give a shit right now. And then I watched an interview with the author and that gave me some momentum, like, okay, everything sounds great. And then I fell off, I'm like, okay, maybe I need to read something else. So I started reading The Half Moon by Mary Beth Keane. Also, that is such a beautiful name. It's just Mary Beth Keane. 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 Sounds great. Anyway, I'm only in chapter 1, right? And I always do this thing where I'm like, okay, let's see where this book is headed. And so far, I've already been introduced to like the owner. So The Half Moon is the name of like a bar, which is like a good name for a bar, The Half Moon. And we are following Malcolm, who like was a bartender for like 24 years or something. He bought the bar. And the only thing I know right now is he's divorced. He's been divorced for, hold on, it says it very explicitly. It's been over 4 months since Jess left. His ex-wife, I'm assuming, 17 weeks to be exact. So he's been divorced for that long. I know nothing about this man except he's divorced and he was or is on nicotine it's right here. Nicotine lozenges. I have no idea how to say that, but I know nothing. That's why we are at this spot, and I'm kind of still interested to go on. I like the book I was reading before I picked this one up, but I was like, I don't really care right now about anyone. And I remember I did want to read this book for a while. I don't remember what it was about. Only thing I know right now is there was a bar, there was some marital problems, and there was like a snowstorm. And the book starts with this guy pulling up to the bar thinking it's going to be like a regular slow night, but then there's some sort of storm, I believe, and the bar's a lot fuller than usual. So his friends and like some usual customers are like, oh my gosh, congratulations, you have a full house. That's all I know thus far. But yeah, I'm excited to get into this book. It's Thursday, it's a long weekend, so I'm believing, because I don't have work. I mean, I don't think anyone's really working on Monday, but which is Labor Day over here. But it's gonna be fun. Can't wait to see what really is going on. And the thing about me is I really just enjoy mundane books, right? So I feel like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like this book is probably about someone who's like down the streets. Like the bar is probably down the streets. I just really enjoy books that are so mundane that way. I'm getting a teacup. But books that are so mundane in that way, and they just really just tell a story about like something that could happen to anyone or that is happening to anyone. It's a really, really interesting premise, and I really enjoy books like that. As long like thrillers, which again, thriller novels as well, or books, I feel like it just happens to anyone. Like a lot of books that I've read, I'm like, this is probably happening. So I'm like, where the fuck did this idea come from? That's beside the point. But yeah, I think my romance spew has been put on hold because I read Real by Kennedy Ryan, a blog that is on the channel as well. And I remember saying I'm not reading romance for a while. And then I read Red, White, and Royal Blue, which is the last blog you probably watched. And I thought I was on a high, but I guess not. So anyway, that's done. So yeah, I'm excited to see where this book leads us and takes us. So the cover is just really, really nice. If you can really see, if you can look closely, there's like a face here. And then at the top as well, there's a face as well. I'm assuming this is Malcolm, and I'm assuming that is Jess. Because that's more like a feminine feature, like the nose and yeah, I hope we enjoyed this vlog, guys, and it's gonna be a fun one. Mwah. Good morning. Hi. Hello, everyone. It is Labor Day. I have some tea. I am on the patio, and I have the half moon. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I started this book, what, 2-3 days ago. I'm only on chapter 4, barely 100 pages in. I could tell you right now that I believe that I could throw this book, just throw it away, and pick up another book, and I could pretend that this book did not happen. What does that mean? It just means I have no interest to see how anyone survives or ends up in this book. I wanted to get in enough to kind of like give you a synopsis of what was going on, and I finally have it. So basically, this book is following Malcolm, who owns a bar called the Half Moon, which actually is a really, really good name for a bar. But he owns a bar called the Half Moon, and he is... I remember saying in the beginning of this video that I wasn't sure what was going on, but it seemed like I could connect some dots. So he's divorced. He's divorced to, with Jess, and the timelines are a bit unclear. I'll tell you what I don't like about this book in a second, but the timeline is a bit unclear. But you could tell from like flashbacks and everything like that. They tried to have a child multiple times for like I think 7 years, and I believe they lost a child before it fully developed, and now they divorced a couple years later, and part of the divorce was also financial infidelity, where he was working at a certain bar on the Half Moon, and the owner was retiring or something, so he wanted to sell the business. So his wife, who was a lawyer, said, get the business, but don't buy the building because that might be, a bit more than we can chew. But then he bought the building, but like he bought the building and a business on a handshake, not like a contractual agreement. So it's a bit messy and a bit dodgy. And you can see how into the marriage as well, during flashbacks, he had to like run away from like I guess debt collectors, or the person who owned the bar has like his henchmen or something. So he was owing them money, and he would have to like consolidate and move money around, and he would forget to pay for drinks for the bar, or forget to just buy like groceries for the bar, so like stock up on everything. So there's a funny part where he was out of vodka, so he sent one of his bartenders, and the guy just bought like the same Absolute vodka. I think we all know what Absolute vodka is. He bought like 6, and then he didn't like factor in the fact that like some people might come in and might want a different kind of vodka or different kind of liquor, and then they made a funny joke where it's like, even though most people don't really know the difference between such kind of vodkas unless it's like different flavors. That's been the book thus far, and also we've been following, so in a very interesting way, I will say I enjoy the writing where I guess every living thing is waking up right now because it's like 8 a.m. or something. But I enjoy the parts, or like the writing where you're not following like a certain POV, which is really what I enjoy reading. I enjoy when like I open a book and it's like, okay, this is Malcolm's POV, and then I go to the next chapter and this is Jess's POV, but not really. What the author does, which I find really interesting, is that like you're reading the book and you're just like following like a certain subconscious. So I don't know how to. Great example, the way chapter 4 starts, just before Jess met Neil. Right there, I know that like, okay, we're going to be following Jess for some time, and then in like a middle, it's going to like just like go back to Malcolm. It's a bit interesting. It might be a bit like annoying, and you might lose yourself a couple times if you're not like concentrating. Because I know that happened to me. I was reading this at work yesterday, and I was a bit frustrated because I'm like, okay, what's going on? Now, what I don't like about the book is almost the same thing, the writing. It has run-off lines. It feels like the character is complaining. And I'll tell you what I mean. I'm reading, I've been listening to a book called Really Good Actually, I think that's what the name is. The book with the lady that has a messed up bun. And that book is actually just following one POV, and I'm listening to it because I just had a free credit, and I've been listening to it for like a long time. I don't know when I'm gonna finish it, but it's just a book of complaints in a way. I feel like if I had that book to read, basically, I might enjoy it a bit more. Maybe I will say maybe it's just the audio narrator who's not really doing it for me, but it's like a book of complaints, and it's almost the same premise where this girl gets divorced and you're just following her life. It's like a long YouTube day in the life. And this almost feels that way, except like this is just very human. And I say that to say, these are the kind of books I like, ideally, where it's just human experiences. Like there's no drama, there's no like, I just spoke to my cousin, I was telling him about the book, and I was saying, there isn't some dramatic murder or something you're trying to figure out anyway thus far. The only thing that's happening is there's been a snowstorm in the book from the beginning, so that's interesting to kind of see what's happening. But I'm still gonna keep reading. I'm out on the patio right now. I'm gonna do some work and then read the book. But and I'm trying to avoid reading reviews because I was trying to justify how I felt, so I went on like Goodreads and Book of the Month, and it's two different kind of people reviewing the book. But a lot of people had some complaints that I have currently where it's like it feels like a runoff in a way. I don't know if that's the like correct way to describe this type of writing, but it just feels very like just you're typing, send. That's how it almost feels. It's just going. It almost feels like there isn't like a certain structure. I hope I'm explaining this correctly. And I know I've complained a lot, and then I'm going to say at the end of this video, oh my god, this book is so amazing. Who knows? But right now the book feels very human. It just feels like I'm seeing a lot of like flaws and loss and grief in a way of like a relationship and a child and friendships and loneliness. And I'll come back to loneliness in a second because there's been a really interesting chapter on that as well, which I really, really did enjoy. And but that's really been it. The writing a bit is just frustrating me. The story, so good, so far so good, but the writing is a bit frustrating in the sense that it's just, you're reading and then it just changes to a flashback and the only difference is like a comma. You don't really see like a certain page turn or chapter change. It's just like, and then he's taking a drink, comma, last time he took a drink, it was when he got married, something like that. So that's been it thus far, but I'm excited to see how much more I tolerate with this book. I will read it to the end. I will power through. And is it too early to say that this might be the first Book of the Month book that I'm not rooting for, but we will see. This video is so weird because it's like barely 7 in the morning. I'm getting ready for work, and I made the decision last night to pause this book. I'm just not as interested anymore. I'm almost at the 100-page mark. I don't think I can get there. Just don't give a shit. And if this is the part where like I try to patronize and say, oh, but it's an amazing book. It's not bad. And someone actually summarized it enough for me last night because I was talking to someone and he said, maybe it's just not a book that applies to my phase of life right now. And if I pick it up years later, it may make a lot more sense. And I totally agree. It not like any of the books we read most of the time applies to our life, depending. But right now, I'm just not connecting with this book the way I think I should. And I love the premise. I love how I'm reading now. I'm not reading from someone else's POV, but I'm reading through someone else's lens in a way now, because I'm reading through Jess and not Malcolm as much. So you're seeing how Jess felt about Malcolm through, like, the many times that she lost a child, and while she was working overtime, and he was just like basically gambling their money away trying to buy this building for the bar and everything. And yeah, thus far it's quite enjoyable, but it's just not, it's not for me. I'm really not connected with it anymore. So I'm going to be dropping this book. I'm going to be putting it back. And I was scared I was going to go into like a reading slump. So I picked up an author that I trust, Kennedy Ryan, The Kingmaker. This book is a sequel, I know, but it has a sequel. But I'm just going to start anyway and see how I feel. And I know it's a romance, but it's a lot more than a romance because it's Kennedy Ryan and she gets up house every fucking time. So I'm going to start this book maybe today and see how I feel. And if you enjoyed this vlog, watch the next one because it's going to be this one. And bye-bye.